brothers and sisters of the multiverse. Today I want to talk about why humanity tolerates hierarchy still. It may be a recap, for some of you it may be not new, but maybe I can reach someone with that never thought about it this way, or never got across any of those videos from others about that. It's kind of basic, but it's crucial, and I feel the need to say it. So, you see, modern humans tolerate hierarchies and inequality and systemic oppression as something inevitable, just because they think it was always like that. But that's not biology, that's not so-called human nature. It's a story that we've been told, and we adapted to it, we accept it, because most can't imagine it differently. It's just you see, with culture, it's the same thing. If you're a Christian, you're probably, well, they're all around the world, but mostly Europe and America, right? If you were born, you as you, with your biology, to different parents on a different part of the world, and raised in a different climate, in a different religious majority and such, you would have a different religious beliefs, most likely. If you incarnated in a different shell, container, temporary container for your soul, called body, with a different color or something, you'll also see certain things differently. And sadly, other people would see you also accordingly. What makes us us is something else, right? But this systemic oppression and this hierarchy and dominance of capitalism and such, it's slowly crumbling. We're almost at the 10% threshold of people realizing that it doesn't work. Right? But why does the majority still accept it as, oh well, what's wrong with it? It just hasn't clicked yet. It doesn't happen overnight, of course, for the majority. feels normal because everyone was talking about it in school, at home, or at work, wherever. Like there are no alternatives. But there are. Even in capitalism, there are projects. I don't know if you heard of ESOP, ESOP, companies that are owned by the workers. And everyone decides what and how and when and how much and all of that. Workers are not just there to obey and get paid minimum wage. All is fair, all is transparent, and all the workers have a voice, true voice. Not just, may I offer a suggestion? No. Or, yeah, sure, but we won't listen to it anyway. You just have to feel like we are listening. There are many of those companies too. And it's even worse when they pretend that they care. No one likes to be a slave. It's even worse if they're not aware that they're slaves because of such cheap psychological tricks like, oh look, we care. You can tell us anything that bothers you. And they may only act or react to something if it would threaten them with some issues regarding coherence among the workers, or even some lawsuits, or even something that's damaging to the image of the company or whatever. Not because they really care. The seeds are planted again. People are showing that it's possible to make it differently, to cooperate without a boss, that human nature is what we make it. And we're proving, with such projects, we're proving that it's also profitable. No one wants to feel like a child who has to ask for permission to relieve themselves or something. It's degrading. It's unnatural. It's You know, that mindset of control is dying. And it was not even a nice try, but a social experiment, let's say. Since the beginnings of agriculture and permanent residences and all of that, and accumulation of goods suddenly, and then those power-hungry dark tetra types, right, saw power in that by accumulating those goods. And then the whole monarchies came and all of that stuff. Now we see it more clearly. And we see that it's not necessary. People are not inherently lazy, alright? Proven it. It also works in all those intentional communities where there is no boss. But, and even better, because happy people are more productive people. And if they work for themselves, not for someone else, if they can relate to their job, if it's directly correlated to their food on the table or something, then it's even more motivating. It's intrinsically motivating, not extrinsically, through hierarchies and systemic oppression and wage slavery and all of that. If it comes from within, the motivation, it's the only real correct kind of motivation. Not oppression, not coercion and all of that. We can flip this game around, and we are slowly doing it, slowly but surely. Of course, those who are in power, they won't even let their mouthpieces, they know who they are, even mention those alternatives in mainstream media. Because people might become interested and even like it, of course. No thanks to CIA and the internet. Now they might regret it, giving the technology to the public. But okay, it couldn't have lasted forever anyway. There are much better ways and more sustainable solutions and more environmental friendly ones, right? I mean, how could ever anyone have thought that there are finite resources, and instead of saying, oh, since it's finite, right? Maybe we should be really careful how we use it and how much we actually need of that. But no, instead, someone who had the power said, oh, I have to be the first to get it all. I mean, not one, hundreds of course, or thousands. But I don't know if you know why diamonds are so expensive. Because like 90 or 95% of them are in some vaults, not in circulation. They keep it scarce so the price stays up. Think about that. I mean, how it all works. Since the monetary systems, it's even a deeper layer. The whole monetary system per se is the quintessential spark for all of that. And with the digitalization of money, it became even worse, way worse. But back to hierarchies. Looking at the history of 300,000 years or so of humankind here, hierarchies are exceptions, not the rule. It's like 5 minutes ago when it started. At least those hierarchies meant to oppress, not to teach. There were always those in tribes who had like more to say than the others, but because they were older, more experienced, more knowledgeable, and have proven themselves to be to care about the whole group, about the well-being of everyone, not just because they had more, but because they were more as human beings. When we talk about hierarchies, we mostly think of domination hierarchies, not competence hierarchies, right? But those competence hierarchies rarely see themselves above the other or with more rights or something. Those are okay. Respect, true respect, is given by others. True respect can never be demanded by someone. just because of some position or something, you know. I was always baffled by why we have to address judges by your honor. I don't know that person. I've seen him my first time in my life. I don't know if that person is honorable. He has a certain school, sure, but I don't know what he's doing behind closed doors. You know what I mean? Things like that, they're everywhere. Your honor, you have to earn that, boy. And not through school, through integrity, through kindness, through care for true justice. You know, things like that. So there will always be some types of hierarchies, but hopefully of competence, not so-called power, not through coercion and money and all of that. What does that mean? Someone who wants more of that has to inevitably be selfish and greedy. Is that then a good person? Can we say, I mean, of course people are saying they made something of themselves because of some outdated idea of what it is to be someone. He has money. Yeah, he walked all over other people for that. Betrayed his colleagues and backstabbed them, whatever. Whatever it takes, right? To get ahead. To go up the career ladder or something. Speaking badly about someone behind their back, smiling in their faces, just to make the other person look bad so you have better chances to be promoted and such. Come on. That stuff is everywhere. And we have to honor them, them. How did that ever become normal? It's mind-boggling. But as I said, we're getting there, slowly but surely. And asking why does it still have to be this way is a good start. The alternative is not utopian. It's real. And it's working. And it's working even better. Not only financially, but also in the overall quality of life of the workers. Check out this ESOP. check out intentional communities. Look what they say about how things are done and who decides. It will never be that all agree on something. Those plans are mostly really in the long run, and you do some sustainability issues or environmental issues or whatever. One might argue, whoever, that leads to democracy then. But what we understand as democracy is something entirely different nowadays. Voting every 4 years and thinking you have a say in anything is a whole different animal. True direct one, yes. But not as most people know it today. So I would just like to encourage you today to just look into those alternatives. All the pros and cons, all the cards on the table. And just watch which one you find better. And let me know in the comments. It's a short video today, I know. I haven't gone into all the details and all the stuff. And if something rubs you wrong with that said, let me know and I'll tell you where I'm coming from with that. And we can talk about it. Okay. Love you, brothers and sisters.